There are a lot of differences between IUI and IVF. It's a completely different procedure, but here are some of the kind of main differences from a patient experience point of view. IUIs are way less invasive. You can take medication for IUIs, but it's not nearly as much and as intense as IVF. You're trying to produce 1 to 2 to maybe 3 follicles for an IUI. With IVF, you're trying to produce as many as you possibly can. So the doses are way higher and everything is way more controlled and way more monitored with IVF. You're still going in for a lot of monitoring with IUI because they need to make sure that they're measuring the follicle growth and following it and triggering you at the right time. But it's just a lot less invasive. With IVF, you do have to undergo surgery for your egg retrieval. With IUI, the actual procedure is done just right in your doctor's office with just a catheter. There's not even any need for pain medication. So it's, that's a big difference. The timeline is a huge difference. IUI, you can do one every 4 weeks. It's very, you just kind of roll into the next one. With a complete IVF cycle, if you are doing PGT testing, if you're doing testing on your embryos, the whole thing is about 3 months. So it's just a really, really long process. Like for example, I made the decision to do IVF in December. It is now March and I'm awaiting my transfer. It seems like it's just a long time from when you make the decision to move forward to when you actually have a chance at getting pregnant. Cost is huge. That's probably one of the bigger differences. IUIs, they do cost money, but IVF is a whole nother ball game when it comes to costs. There's a lot of different options out there for financing, for packages. That's the good news. Insurance coverages, if you're so fortunate, the cost of IVF is a lot more than the cost of an IUI. And it's just plain higher stakes with IVF. The chances are greater with IVF, but of course there's no guarantees. And just because you're going through the stems and the egg retrieval, it doesn't guarantee that you're gonna have embryos at the end of it. And that's devastating. And to be putting so much effort into going through this IVF cycle and to not either end up with embryos or to not have a transfer work. There's never guarantees with anything, but the stakes are much, much higher with IVF.